Anybody today. Hi, guys. We're live. We're here to talk Iowa State and maybe a little few other things today. I don't know if you guys heard about the breaking news. Iowa State had their three players, and Iowa had two. All pleaded guilty to gambling underage, and so they all got like a $640 fine. From what I understand from reading the articles, that clears the way for them guys not to get NCAA punishment.
They won't. I mean, they're not going to be able to play sports, though, are they?
Yeah, it sounds like they are because the way they pleaded guilty, it takes the actual gambling out of it, I think, or something, and so it doesn't sound like they got any suspension.
Here, I'm looking for it now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, one of Iowa State players has already returned to practice. Decker never left, according to them. He's just not practicing. So I would look for him to return to practice soon. The other one's already at a community college playing. And our two guys.
Noah Shannon should be back. So that means Noah Shannon should be back.
I don't think he pled guilty to what they underage gambling. That's what these other guys did.
Right, but
Noah Shannon's of age.
There's absolutely no way Hunter Decker could return and not Noah Shannon.
I know.
Did Hunter Decker's bet on Iowa State?
Yeah, he did all kinds of bad things.
I know it. Well, there's like
so did Blum for Iowa, the kicker.
Yeah. Yeah, he's no longer a part of Iowa anyway.
Right.
But he also pleaded guilty to underage gambling, and so did the baseball player named Gehrig, whatever his name was.
Right.
So I wanted to get that out of the way today.
Yeah, you jumped right in it. You didn't introduce, and you didn't talk about subscribing. You just jumped right in gambling.
Yeah, you guys. Okay, let's just talk about the subscribing so we can get to the previews, guys. What you guys are all here for. You don't want to hear me pimp this channel any longer, but guys, I need it. Let's get to 500. So we're gonna change the rules. We didn't get to 500 by kickoff. We actually lost one. So let's do this. 500 by the Penn State game, and see if we can do that. But you guys, it's going to take you guys sharing. It's going to take you guys registering, become a YouTube person. Because also that allows you to, once you become a YouTube person, that also allows you to comment and come on our show live. Without it, they would turn you away.
Okay? And guys, sharing is caring.
Yeah, just share it with your friends. I do it all the time. Nobody's gotten mad at me yet. I send it to the same ones every week, and nobody's written back yet and said no, don't send it. So yeah. Got to share, like, and comment. That would help. All right. Okay, so our first comments today are one's from my granddaughter. Hello, Soph. We love Ardino. I'm just gonna put that one right up there. Got to show it off. Okay, guys. Okay, let's get right to Iowa State. We all know that they're gonna have a tough defense. All right. We don't know how good. We don't know really much about this because against UNI, they only had 250 yards, right? I kind of look at the thing. They had a pick six to start the game. They had a short yardage drive of like 21 yards, so they must have got a fumble recovery or another pick in that area, or something happened, another turnover. So they only had to go 20 yards for a touchdown. They did have a 76-yard touchdown drive, I think, or that might have been their field goal. I'm not sure. But all in all, they didn't show a lot on offense. They were pretty didn't show much. For instance, let's see, where's that at? I had it written down here somewhere. Oh, here we go. So their Breck. Is it Beck? How do you say that? Beck, their quarterback?
Beck.
Okay.
His dad, do you know Anthony Beck?
I have not heard of Anthony Beck before.
He was a tight end in the NFL for a long time. I just remember him with the Colts. That's his dad. That's
okay.
His dad.
Okay. Well, he he didn't pass a lot, but he was pretty efficient when he did. 10 for 13, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns for 77% passing percentage, and he scored a 200 on the quarterback rating. Not bad, huh? Not bad. Not bad for a guy who didn't play last year.
How many yards was that?
113.
113. I mean, he didn't pass for a lot. He didn't pass much, but like I said, what he did pass for was pretty efficient.
36 of them was on one play in like the third or fourth quarter that they scored to go up 30 to nothing.
Yeah. And there's a Cole, I don't know his first name, was 4 for 5 for 80%, 0 touchdowns.
JJ Cole? You know
Yeah.
him. You know JJ.
Was it JJ?
His dad played basketball for Iowa.
Hang on, I'm looking right now. I don't think JJ was what it was. It could have been.
JJ's his name. He's a 4-star quarterback out of Des Moines.
Okay. All right, but he only passed for 3 yards.
Iowa chose Marco, my guy.
Oh, okay.
My dog. Iowa chose Marco over JJ.
Okay, so Cole completed 4 out of 5 passes, but he only passed for 3 yards.
Right.
So how's that possible?
I mean, everything they did, they didn't do much. Realistically, Iowa State won playing Iowa style football. Mm-hmm. The special teams and defense won that game for them. The offense didn't have to do hardly anything, and they didn't do much. So
they didn't. And honestly, they did get over 100 yards rushing, I think.
Yep.
But as a team, but not much. Their top runners had 6 yards, 21 yards, and 19 yards.
Right. No, they didn't have to do much at all.
Right. Okay. And their receivers were Norton was their big guy. He had 11 catches for 49 yards, and Samo had 6 catches for 46 yards. Cole, I guess he also plays receiver. He plays 3 for 22 yards.
No. Huh. Not JJ.
Then we're talking 2 Coles.
We must be. JJ's there. Let's see. Yeah, JJ Cole, he's their quarterback, number 10. Okay, yeah, 4 for 5. JJ Cole did run the football. He had 3 carries for 22 yards. He didn't have any receiving yards.
Okay. Well, the stats I had it under receiving. They didn't put it under.
It's under rushing in the ESPN app.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's get started a little bit. Wants to know these guys want to know how ISU's quarterback is, and I think we just talked a little bit about it. But we haven't had a chance to see him, have we? Have you guys checked ESPN Plus and watched the rerun or anything?
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay, tell me what you saw.
I mean, like I said, the offense didn't have to do hardly anything. I mean, Rocco was just the young quarterback. He'd run around and just throw the ball. Mostly short stuff. I think he hit on 2 30-yarders. One of them was that 36-yard touchdown I talked about in the third or fourth quarter in the second half that made him go up 30-0. But it's I mean, Iowa State's offense isn't very good, and they're not going to be. Their offensive line isn't very good at all. That's my son, if you heard that.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, he was leaving. He has to show off his Mustang he bought. But anyway.
What year did he buy, by the way?
2018. It was his dream Mustang.
Okay.
He saved up his money for it. He's 19. He's already bought 3 cars. He bought one his junior year. He bought his supposedly dream car, his Ford Focus RS before prom his senior year. And now he bought this Mustang.
I had 3 cars by the time I was 19.
Yeah, he's just a car guy, and he works hard for it and goes to school. So I can't say anything. I tried to tell him to save his money. It don't work. Oh. But anyway, Iowa State's offense didn't look good at all. It had its moments, but it was against UNI. And UNI's defense, they're not that great. The offense, The offense is supposed to be good. They have that senior quarterback. Their quarterback is supposed to be good. Iowa State made them look bad. So, I mean, they have a number 50 and a number 11 that nobody could block. So, like, Iowa State's defense is legit, and they run that odd man front, Paul. They run that weird scheme that Iowa struggles with. So, you know, I still think the under in this game will probably work. But, yeah, I don't know. I just don't. I mean, this is just going to be a low-scoring game, in my opinion, unless they turn Cade loose. And we didn't see, you know, because Cade is deadly accurate. We saw how accurate he was. So protect him. Let him just throw dots. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of.
I think we need to take a page out of Utah State's offensive playbook. I mean, if Iowa State or any of these teams want to load the box up to you know, stop the run and put more guys than we can block, then we're going to have to spread the field out a little bit, because every time we get into these 3 tight end sets or the 2 tight end sets, and we're just inviting too many guys in the box for us to try to block. And I think that's why we didn't really get our run game going.
No, you're right. That perfect example, Paul, is that 4th and 1. If you go back and watch it, Utah State had 10 guys in the box. We had 8 blockers.
Right.
You know, if the quarterback could have blocked, we would have had 9. So they legit had everybody up there. And the 9th guy is actually the one that made the tackle. So everybody blocked their guy. Well, Rusty missed his trap block, but the guy went around, so the guy couldn't get to Williams anyway. And then the 9th guy was in that hole, so Williams, you know, got through. But right in the hole was that 9th guy that there was nobody to block because we didn't have a fullback, nobody, right? So if we had a fullback in there instead of a tight end out here on the left-hand side, which didn't do anything with the play, then we probably get the first down. But, you know, we don't have a fullback right now. Our fullback's out for the year, so they're working on a couple guys of doing it.
Hayden Large, he's not – I thought he was our fullback.
He is, but he's a tight end trying to play fullback.
Right, right.
He didn't play fullback much. My guess is he's still learning, and they didn't want to put him out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's just my guess.
Okay, Jared wants to know, are the Hawks going to reach 100 yards rushing? In my personal opinion, no. Not against this defense.
It will all depend on, like I said, if Iowa State adjusts to Cade, like Paul's saying, they're going to have to let Cade throw the ball a lot in the beginning of the game and make them worry about the pass, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you get them spread out, you can run the ball against them. You can run the ball because sometimes they only have 5 guys in the box. They legit run a 3-man because they run that 3-3-5, and sometimes you can catch them with 5 guys in there, especially if they think you're going to pass. So, I mean, you can get these guys, but to start the game, I got a feeling they're going to have everybody up like what Paul said, and they're just going to see what Iowa can do. Can you get open against our corners? And we're just going to send it the house, which Cade loves it when he blitzing. Cade, I don't know if you guys saw what I shared, but I know for you PFF lovers, Cade was the number 1 quarterback against the blitz in the country in 2021. In the entire country at the end of the year.
Wow.
So Cade excels because he can process information so fast. So Cade excels against the blitz. So let's hope this year, Paul, you and I see some throwing into the blitz.
Yes.
Which we did. We saw it against Purdue last year, and that was about it.
That was it. Boy, did it work.
Yeah, it works. One would think if it worked, you'd be like, oh, wow, let's do that again. I just lost my golf ball.
Right. Okay, Jared says Iowa receivers perform well for the most part. Paul, I'm going to start with you this time. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, certainly, you know, you had the big Seth Anderson touchdown catch. I'm thinking about Nico's could have been touchdown catch, a tough catch, but you know, part of this game is making a play for your quarterback, right? And so, and I'm only talking about receivers. I'm not talking about tight ends. Seth Anderson almost dropped the touchdown pass. I mean, they had to go back and review it.
It was right in the breadbasket.
Nico couldn't quite make the circus catch.
Yeah, that one. I wish I knew whose fault it was because Cade dropped it in perfect. I mean, that takes skill right here, but it was over the wrong shoulder. Like Nico, for whatever reason, was looking on the corner side where he's covered right here. So Cade, which is what quarterbacks do, this got me so excited, even though it was dropped.
He threw it to the other shoulder.
Other shoulder, and Nico, was going like this.
Yeah.
Completely missed. But go on.
But Caleb Brown, no catches. Deontay Vines, I don't think he caught a ball.
He got no targets either.
No target, right? So, I don't know that I would give the receivers a fantastic grade. Tight ends, once you include them in the mix, it's a different story. But if we're just talking the wide receiver position, it was better than what we saw most of last year. But
especially on third down. I think you brought that up in our last show, Paul. The third down catching for Iowa. They picked up a 3rd and 11, a 3rd and 12, a 3rd and 15.
Yeah.
Which I think the 3rd and 15 was that final touchdown drive.
No, the 3rd and 15 was on the second touchdown drive.
To Lachey or Regini?
No, it was a screen pass actually to Jazz Patterson.
You're right. That's why you remember. Patterson had a great game. We need to talk about him a little bit later. But but see, the thing is with these receivers is like Vines. I know Kate saw this in film session. Vines was open a lot. He just didn't get the targets. Brown was wide open on that slant, and he was open again on a deep route. He actually got the target because that's the play you remember where the ball bounced off the lineman's head. Cade threw it too low, and Brown was wide open. He would have been running right up the middle of the field. And but it just was unlucky where the ball bounced off the lineman's head.
True. Yeah. So the pass completion Cade will need to beat ISU. I don't know, whatever it takes. He did 57 this week, right?
He's going to put the ball there. Receivers just have to catch it.
Right. Yeah. I honestly, I thought they did well on third down, the receivers. So did not Nico, but Lachey. Lachey got 7 of the passes, and
there was a lot of receivers open, but Cade got too tight end driven, right?
Yeah. Did he get that from Spencer?
No, I just think that
Spencer just loved his tight ends.
I think that's just who he just was comfortable with at the moment. First game, right? He knows this guy's good. Like he was good last year. He knows, right? So I think that had a lot to do with it. And receivers were running the wrong routes. Seth Anderson and Brown ran the wrong route a few times. But Vines was wide open on a couple plays deep downfield that Cade didn't either see or didn't want to throw that pass for whatever reason. So they saw it, and that's part of what Cade said is he knows it, where he was saying we left a lot on the field because he knows the receivers dropped 2, but he also knows he missed some receivers. I guarantee when they went back on film, and if they watch it together, those guys were like, hey, look, I was wide open.
Labus is still QB3 this week. Give him another week or two to work his way back to number 2. He'll get there.
Yeah, he's still dealing with the old Iowa freaking soft tissue issues. But but Kirk is just being nutty this year with the injuries. Like with the way he's playing games with everybody with Cade's injury because he's saying well, no rollouts or bootlegs probably are in the, and they ran it last week against Utah State, and he did just fine. I had to show that video in Dean's little rant about, oh no, Cade, he's hurt, blah blah blah. I'm like, look, against Utah State, they ran a rollout. Kirk,
I want you to be right so bad. I want you to be right so bad.
I am right. I showed you proof.
Yeah.
They literally ran a rollout with him last week. And
Oh yeah, they did. They did. But I think that was before he got tweaked again. Remember,
no,
he got tweaked. He got tweaked in the fourth quarter.
No, he got tweaked in the third quarter. The
I
fourth
thought
quarter. It was 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter when they scored their final touchdown. They took him out.
Yeah, right.
And he got tweaked before that, but he didn't really get tweaked. He put a lot of pressure on in that moment. Like later in the game, the heat was getting to him. It's the heat, but that's not what Kirk was talking about. He's all saying, yeah, because they were talking about the 4th and 1 on the quarterback sneak, and he's like, yeah, we probably would have normally done a quarterback sneak, but bootlegs and rollouts aren't really in the cards right now. And I'm like, you just ran a rollout. You don't think coaches see that? The 4th and 1 was in the second, or was it in the first quarter? Because they didn't score. Was that in the first quarter where they could have went up 17-0?
Yeah, because they elected to go for it on 4th and 1.
Yeah, that 4th and 1 was in the first quarter. So Kay didn't tweak it yet.
Yeah.
So Kirk is just playing games. I don't know.
I know. I was just thinking, was he just trying to show off his new quarterback? Because that's not Kirk type. That's usually automatic field goal. Bring out the field goal unit situation where they were
his quarterback, because remember, they ran the ball right up the middle against 10 men on that 4th and 1. Was it 4th and goal that they went for it when the Cade hit all in the end zone? It was like 4th.
Yeah, it was 4th and goal.
4th and. So I mean that one. Yeah, that one they may have been showing off Cade, but
that one made me a little nervous. And then I saw how wide open all was when he got the ball. It's like, dang. Could you be any more wide open?
Cade just dropped it in the bucket.
Yeah.
No, it's just been really weird. Cade's fine. He's not going to come out. He's not going to get hurt. He can't hurt any more than it is. It just needs to get stronger and heal. He'll be sore. All right.
Rub some dirt on it, kid.
Exactly. You think Bear Bryant would let him come out?
Yeah. I think this game will be, I got a feeling this game will be low scoring. I think this is what Jared is trying to say in this little comment.
I mean, I hope he's wrong, but I'm not going to say he's wrong because that's the MO.
Did we lose 10-7 last year?
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be 10-7 this year, but we win.
Last year it was 10-7 because there was offensive players on both sides who didn't want to score.
Yeah, and now we know why.
Iowa's running back fumbled on the 1. Iowa's fullback fumbled on the 1. So Iowa State's running back fumbles on the 1. Iowa's fullback fumbles on the 1. And then Iowa had a wide receiver fall down at the 2.
We had a DB fall down on a pick 6.
Oh yeah, but he was mad at himself though.
Right.
That was Terry.
Yeah.
He was mad at himself. If that's the score, I will be doing jumping jacks live on camera.
Me too. I definitely would be.
That's the score I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. But it's just this odd man defense that makes me worried. And Iowa State runs their defense. They were the number 1 defense in the Big 12 last year.
Yeah.
They've been the number 1 defense well, first of all, nobody really plays defense in the Big 12. So
except for Iowa State.
Except for
I mean, you're very right. But just think of this, how everybody talks about Iowa's scheme, Kirk Ferentz, and Campbell's scheme. They had the number 1 defense, but still only won 3 games. They had their number 1 defense, or number 2 behind Michigan maybe, but they still won 8 games, right? So, I mean, you could talk about, oh, wow, Iowa State, look, they're throwing the ball over the yard. Their defense is playing magnificent, but why can't they score points? I mean, this is the 2 schemes. This is why this game makes me nervous, simply because Iowa State runs their defense like Parker, like Iowa. They don't do much, but they know where they're supposed to be. They rarely get beat, right? Because they know what zone. They play zone, just like Iowa does, but they know right where they're supposed to be, and they're generally there. They'll send a fourth rusher. A fourth rusher would be a blitz for them, right? They always send 3, but sometimes they'll send 4. And so you just got to be ready for it. But there's no reason Iowa should not be able to use 6 blockers and block their rushers.
Right.
When they're only sending 3, that means they've got 8 guys in coverage. It's you gotta.
That's the key. Is I mean, they play zone like Iowa, and they're in their zones, right? So you got to pick them apart. Yeah, they got 8 guys back there. You have to find the open hole.
Yeah. So between Casey and Jared, they picked their scores, and I believe the over under is around 36 to 38. So they're both right on it.
36 and a half.
36 and a half.
Yep.
So Casey, you picked the over, and
Oh.
Jared, you picked the under.
I mean, the sad part is you're seeing 36 and a half, and you're still thinking that might go under. That is such a low mark. Anything under 40 is low, and this is even lower than low, and you're still going, yeah, I might have to take the under.
Should we go ahead and give our predictions for the game here?
Well,
I was going to save it for our 6 games that we do toward the end.
Okay.
Let me address Jared's question here, or his comment, because he says TCU forgot how to play defense against Colorado. Well, no, if you remember what Kirk said about Utah State's defense, it's very similar to there was no tape on Colorado. TCU had nobody but Jackson State, and they're not going to run that same exact scheme they ran, in the HBCU colleges. So TCU didn't really know what to expect. Like Kirk was saying, he had to watch Bowling Green tapes just to get an idea of what Utah State might do. And they still didn't do exactly what Bowling Green did. So when you don't have tape, that's the interesting thing about this week with Nebraska. There is tape on what Colorado wants to do. That's a huge difference. To know what they do by position or – yeah, I agree, Casey. If I was – like I said, I'm not gambling this year at all. If I was, I would take the under. I'm not saying that would hit, but I think it's more of a gamble to take the over at 36 and a half even. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that Nebraska, Colorado is probably on our pick 6, so I'm going to refrain really from commenting on that just yet.
Yeah, it is definitely on our pick 6. Okay, Smiles Per Gallon wants to talk a little bit about Colorado. Colorado will get slaughtered by the Huskers. No way they can cope with the football genius of Matt Rule either. Do you think he's a little sarcastic here?
Well, he's got to be, because Matt Rule is 0-11 against ranked teams as a coach of a Power 5 team. I just found out that Matt Rule is 0-11 and he's supposed to change Nebraska culture. But he's 0-11. He has never beaten a ranked team as a Power 5 coach. I find that interesting. And Deion Sanders is 1-0. He already has one victory.
That's true. Is that game at Colorado?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
All right.
Okay.
Let's keep her going, Dean. What we got?
All right. Somehow we're rooting for Colorado by everybody. Everybody's got on Colorado bandwagon. Okay.
I'm just anti-Nebraska.
That's there
was a comment
that I was at watching the Iowa-Utah State game. They had on Nebraska, Colorado, or they had on Colorado TCU, and even here in Florida, everybody was definitely rooting for Colorado. So
Deion has a lot of fans.
I was listening to a podcast today where people call in their questions, or not question, call in, but they write in. And somebody asked if it would be what we'd think if we took Prime and had him for our coach at Iowa.
Mm.
So all of a sudden he can rule the world, I guess. All of a sudden he's going to be the hot commodity.
I mean, he will be for offense. He's going to get so many offensive playmakers.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to recruit like no other. Now, can he recruit the hog mollies up front is what we're going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how we would react to having a coach who enforced rules like no jewelry in the weight room, or you have to wear a designated gear inside the facilities, or you have to have both feet on the floor during meetings, or you have to be on time for stuff. Like I don't know if the Iowa fan base could put up with a coach like that.
You know what, though? That would be like the perfect coach to come behind Ferentz. And then put in all those rules that Ferentz had, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ones that they got sued for.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And see how they react with Dion. So, yeah.
Jared, I am not surprised that Iowa dropped out of the top 25.
They only dropped one spot. And
I didn't even know where they dropped to. I didn't even pay attention. It's only because of everybody on the message board said they dropped out.
Yeah, they dropped one spot because Clemson got beat. And it was either between Iowa and Clemson for the 25th spot.
Mm-hmm.
I assume they dropped one spot when Duke won and Colorado won, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would just depend on how far they wanted to drop Clemson. I'm actually shocked they dropped them down to 25th, to be completely honest.
What,
but
Clemson?
it was just how far they were going to drop certain teams. I thought Iowa would probably fall.
Didn't the rankings come out before Clemson lost to Duke? Or am I mistaken?
They came out Tuesday.
Oh, I was thinking they came out Monday.
No, they came out Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah. It's just a fluke loss by Clemson. They'll work their way back up.
It doesn't matter where you're ranked on September 6th. Talk to me on December 6th.
Right.
I mean, if Iowa does what they can do, like I said, I think they can go 12-0.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and this week is the next step. And then I think Western Michigan should be, another game like Utah State. Western Michigan's not even Utah State.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Penn State. Penn State's going to be the game that is going to say a lot.
Yeah. But, for the fans that are kind of over the Iowa State series, we've been around long enough to have seen us beat Iowa State and fall in the rankings too. So,
Right.
By the way, Kirk Ferentz mentioned this in his I think it was his news conference yesterday. Maybe it was a side interview. That every time they lost to Iowa State, Iowa had what they considered not a great season or a good season. And every time they beat Iowa State, they've had a very good season. Does that make sense?
Well,
So
in 2002, they lost to Iowa State and had a pretty good year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that might be the only year.
But most of the time it was Iowa State would beat Iowa and then go on and lose most of their games.
Yeah.
That's the rough thing.
Yeah.
It's like they beat Iowa and then have the worst season ever.
It does seem like whatever team has kind of the higher expectations for the season tends to lose this game in weird ways. Like if that was it, the 2021 game or whatever at Iowa State, where they had college game day and everybody was on the Cyclones, and Iowa went in there and won that football game. So
Right.
Cyclones went into that game ranked higher than we were.
right.
They were 9th and Iowa was 10th.
Yeah, top 10 game. That's not very often that you could say an Iowa State game was a top 10 game.
That was the first time in history.
Yeah.
That was the first and only time.
And, he would also talk, during Hayden Fry's year, how we had that 15-game winning streak against Iowa State. He also said during that 15-game win, there was a lot of those years that Iowa State was the better team than Iowa, and we still beat them.
Not very many of them, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there was a couple.
That's during the years that they had Earl Bruce.
Right.
Um,
When they had Earl Bruce, they were pretty good until he went to Ohio State.
And
You
then
know,
he went to
the-
UNI after that and got sued and had to leave UNI.
There's 365 days in a year. You only need to be the better team one.
Yep.
Right. Okay, Dion. Pre-game speech.
That was my prophetic statement for the night.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that gives me hope is what Casey says here, that Cade also plays good in big game. He's been to the big game.
Yeah.
He engineered that big win over Iowa in the Big Ten final.
Yeah.
Engineered a win over Ohio State.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted, they didn't do well. How did they do in the playoffs? I know they lost, but did they win big or lose? I mean, lose
They got
close or
spanked.
lose big?
No, they got spanked by Georgia. They
Okay.
didn't have it.
But
But nobody was beating Georgia, right? I mean, Georgia went on and won the national championship. So
Cade's also been, he led Michigan and Michigan State, right? They beat them. He took them on the road and won at Penn State in a whiteout environment. So, the stage in Ames won't bother him. It's a 3:00 kick, right? So, we're not talking about a night game, per se.
and plus, it's a high school stadium in Texas.
Ooh.
You can go to high school stadiums in Texas and be bigger than Ames. Have you guys ever been to Ames?
Yes.
Now I know
I've been to games inside of Trice,
I
but
think-
not since they've remodeled it and upgraded it, though.
Right. I know they remodeled it and they might sit 50-some thousand. I doubt they hit 60,000.
They have my
60,000 is
picture
what
up
is
in
what
the
the
post office in Ames. They don't let me.
yeah. 60,000 is what the game is listed at for fans this week.
My guess is if it's really listed at 60,000, that means they have grandstands all the way around the inside of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you're behind the players sitting on bleachers. So they'll have extra bleachers. I actually thought it'd be cool to be down there with the players. No, it sucked. I couldn't see a dang thing.
Yeah. How about
You can't
this?
see over the players?
Erie has given us a little inside information. Ames has the third largest stadium in the Big 12.
I can't believe that. I'm gonna have to look it up. Unless
They
they
used to have
remodel.
like knot holes or something you could sit in. I don't even know if they have those anymore. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Casey would like to remind Paul that it's a 2:30 kick, but that is 2:30 Central Time.
right. But I can't believe that. There's no way unless they went farther than I thought they did with the upgrade. But yeah, no, I used to always, because when we would go to the Iowa State games, we used to go every year, and Ames is. I mean, the stadium was so small.
Wait a minute. Does Jack Trice still have that end zone? Did they put bleachers there or chairs, or is it
No.
still grass?
It's still grass.
Then they can get 60,000 in there easy just using the grass. Everybody crowds in on that hill. Bring their
It's-
blankets, bring their chairs.
I mean, maybe they filled that part in. I mean, I don't think so, though. I guess.
this Jared brings up an interesting question here because I kind of feel like Matt Campbell may have peaked at Iowa State. I mean, there's a ceiling on that program, and he hit it in the COVID year, which to me doesn't even count, right? I mean, outside of the COVID year, he's been. I think he's reached his max potential at Iowa State. There's just limitations, as far as they were never going to win the Big 12, with Texas and Oklahoma there and TCU and
Okay.
so
So the capacity was 42,500, which is probably what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
In 2015, it went up to 61,500. So
they had to
added
make more room for
20,000.
the visiting Iowa fans.
What's that?
They had to make more room for the visiting Iowa and Northern Iowa fans.
Right.
Yeah, but the only way Iowa fans get tickets is they have to buy season tickets.
Right?
So they have to go around and sell the rest of those games off.
That's so Iowa State can say, look at how many tickets we've sold for the season. Like they don't care about tickets distributed.
Right. Over 60,000, but that'd be hard to believe that that's still the third highest in the Big 12.
He said under the old Big 12 they were third after Texas and OU. Well, OU and Texas are gone, so are they first now, or is the new teams
Well,
coming
they're
in
still
got
there
bigger
for this
stadiums?
year.
Oh, that's for they're there for this year. You're right. So you're right.
And I mean, I think their stadium is probably going to be right in line with West Virginia and Central Florida and Baylor and TCU and keep in mind too, like TCU is a small private school. So I mean, and I think Baylor is as well.
Yeah,
True.
last year's national runner-up, getting
Houston.
it handed by Colorado. Okay. Casey would like to let us know that it looks like the Detroit Lions are going to open up tomorrow night.
I didn't think there was an NFL game tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's Detroit, and is it the Giants maybe, or
No, it's Kansas City.
Kansas City? That's right.
Because what's his name got hurt, so everybody thinks the Lions have a shot now.
Who got hurt?
Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Oh, Kelsey?
Yeah.
They got more than just Kelsey, though. They'll survive.
Well, right, but I'm just telling you what fans are saying. Like Lions
Oh.
fans think they got a chance, which they do. Who
Yeah.
knows? It's the first
Hey.
game. Nobody knows how good the Lions are going to be.
When you've got Sam Laporta and Jack Campbell, you've got a chance.
Right.
And Matt Nelson, for that matter. They
Right.
have at least 3 Hawkeyes on that team.
Is
At
Matt
least.
Campbell's only winning season the COVID year? Did he have winning seasons any other time?
Oh no, he's had winning seasons. He just never has won
7
9
wins,
games.
8 wins. Yeah.
They
He
won.
hasn't won.
They won 9 games in 2020, and the Fiesta Bowl.
Right, I knew that. Okay.
But that's the only time. Usually, like the year where they brought back in 2021, they brought back all those super seniors. It was going to be one hell of a year, and they
Yeah.
went 7-6. So
Yeah. Okay. All righty. Matt did what Scott Frost couldn't do. West Virginia's first at 60K. BYU is 63.5.
I believe it. BYU is a football school.
Yeah. Plenty
That's
of
what-
Hawkeyes in the NFL. Yeah, but
Including-
not as many as there was before cutdown day. Man, a lot of them lost their jobs on cutdown day.
But they just moved around. Somebody else.
Some of them moved around, but some of them did not get picked up.
Yeah, if you're if you're looking for an NFL team, if you're in the market to find my Jaguars have quite a few Hawkeyes on it. So
Who besides CJ?
well, Brandon Scherf,
Okay.
Coy Cronk.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I feel like I'm forgetting someone, but at least those 3.
King. Isn't King a Jaguar?
No, I forget where he went now. He was with the Titans, him and Kirksey, and then I think they both got cut.
They got
I don't-
cut. They
I
got
saw
cut,
King-
but I didn't hear anything about him getting picked back up.
I saw King got picked up. So I know he did, but I just don't remember where.
Yeah.
But all right, let's get to our picks.
Sure,
Yeah, let's
let's
do
go ahead. We'll start with the Iowa State first. Go ahead, Jason. You're first on the board.
Well, I got. I was talking about this with my oldest boy who came over and ate supper with us. And I just keep going back and forth, but I just think it's probably a 20-14, 17-14 type of game. I could see Iowa scoring 20. I mean, like 2017, 2016 type.
Mhm.
I just don't see a whole lot of points, but maybe they come close to the over/under. So, but I got Iowa winning. I'm just going to say 20-14. Because we don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to unleash Cade? Are they going to be able to block the odd man front? Are they just going to send the house and see what Iowa does about it?
Mhm.
Right. So there's just so many things, but with what I saw with Iowa State's defense against UNI, and then not really knowing what Iowa's going to do, but they know Iowa State's defense, right? There's nothing new. It's not going to be like something that's changed. And there's been times where Brian knows how to attack that defense. Like in 2021, that second quarter, Iowa dominated. Even Petrus hit Charlie Jones on that perfect pass over the middle. And like Petrus had over 100 yards passing in the second quarter. But then all those turnovers happened, and what did they do? Kirk's like, okay, let's run the clock. Let's milk the clock. Our defense is dominating. There's no reason to, try to get a turnover. And I think our field goal kicker kicked like 3 field goals, and Iowa blew them out. But I think Iowa. I go back to like what I said last week about Nebraska, and how are they going to use Sims, right? Like, are they going to unleash Cade and let him do what he does against the blitz? That's the key. Are they going to block for him? Like I'm hearing, are they going to max protect and just let the receivers eat? All that is what I'm just curious about a lot. But I'm going to end with, I think Iowa wins 20-14.
All right, Paul, you're next.
So I think the defense is a little frustrated after not scoring any against Utah State.
Yeah.
And I think I think we're going to get a couple of turnovers this week, 2 or 3, because that's just our style, right? I mean, we had one, could have had 2 or 3 against Utah State. So I do think we get a couple of turnovers. I look for Torrey Taylor to pin Iowa State back a couple of times, and even if the defense doesn't get the turnover, they're going to get off the field. I think Iowa turns some of the turnovers and short fields into points on offense, and I look for like a 30-17 type game. I'm going to take the Hawkeyes with say 3 offensive touchdowns, a defensive touchdown, and a field goal.
Did you say 30-17?
Yes.
I would love that.
Yeah.
But speaking of what you were saying, though, they did talk about how bad special teams was last week. So they put some time and some work in on special teams this week.
By the way, Cooper doesn't want to run stairs again next week. If he gets his hands on one, look for him to keep it.
Well, he was on a podcast with Vandenberg and his wife.
Yeah,
Laura.
I know about it, but I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, I mean, you could see like he picked on his defense. He was like, yeah, our defense has to, we got to do. Think about it, though. They were on the field on a 16-play drive.
Mm-hmm.
That has nothing to do with the play calling on Brian. Like, everybody wants to blame all that, but Utah State had a 16-play drive against Iowa. It ended in a field goal. Think about all that nonsense. So talk about milking the clock. Like, Utah State had the ball, 16 plays, milking the clock, and only got a field goal out of it. But that's how that Utah State got 27 minutes of time possession.
Okay. All righty. My turn. I'm saying 13-6 Iowa. I think Iowa's experience with quarterback is more than theirs. I think our defense will step it up because I don't think Cooper wants to run stairs again. And that being said, I think the defense will challenge themselves this week. In the offense, take what we can get. Take what they give us.
That's it.
Okay. All right.
Torn apart.
Nebraska at Colorado. I'm just going to give this one to Colorado. And, okay. Paul, your turn to go first.
I'm going to take the Huskers in this one. I know everybody in the world is taking Colorado right now. Everybody's kind of in love with Colorado. It's actually for that reason that I think Nebraska has a real chance in this game because, you've got on one campus, you've got an entire campus of kids, patting Colorado on the back. They're the best thing since sliced bread. They haven't had a big win like that in God knows how long. Meanwhile, on another campus, you've you've got the kids, hey, you guys suck, or not necessarily, but certainly they're not feeling the love in Lincoln right now, right? So,
Right.
there's something crazy. There's something to be said for us against the world mentality, and I'll take Nebraska to pull an upset here.
I can't help but think Smiles per Gallon guy is doing nothing but being sarcastic.
He's trolling.
Which is fine. He's entitled. He's behaving himself.
He's just a Sims homer, apparently. Apparently, he missed my evaluation of Sims.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Wait a minute, because Jared asks here, can Nebraska play defense? Nebraska gave up 10 points for 3 quarters and 14 minutes and 49 seconds or whatever.
That was defense.
Yes, they play defense, and that's the difference. I mean, TCU obviously doesn't. So let's see what happens when Colorado is faced with a team that has 11 guys with a pulse on defense. I'm not saying they're great, but
and understand, and there's film, so Nebraska, they actually know what could be coming, right? There's no, oh shoot, what is this, right? I mean, that does happen. Teams take advantage of being that first game, right?
Sure.
But I mean, I'm going to go with Colorado, just because I think Nebraska starts 0-3 in non-conference. I think they lose to Northern Illinois next week. So, I think it's a close game. But I think if they throw the ball, now last week I said if Sims throws it 20 to 25 times, Nebraska's going to lose. They only threw it 19 times, and he still threw 3 picks. So, I mean, he's just a running back playing quarterback. So, yeah, I'm going with Colorado. I got to go get my charger. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay, Paul, give me your thoughts on Texas, Alabama. Where you want to go with that?
You know what? I'm gonna take Alabama here. I just until they've really been officially knocked off the mountain. I mean, they're still on the mountain. They may not be at the top of the mountain. That might be Georgia, but Alabama's not far down from the top of the mountain, and so as the great Ric Flair often said, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I mean, Alabama is still one of the best, if not the best. So give me Alabama.
Right now, the new toy on the scene is Georgia, and they're going to go for a 3-peat, and they probably will get it too. I'm going to go with Alabama myself. I just don't think, this is on the road at Alabama. I don't think Texas is ready to take on the big boys yet. But I mean, I think Texas will have a decent season overall because they're playing their last season in the Big 12, and I think they're going to, tell a few teams adios and give them a middle finger on the way out.
Sure.
How about you, Jason?
It's Alabama. I gotta wait and see Texas do anything. Like they're basically a better version of Nebraska. In the big games, last year Texas dominated Alabama, if you remember. Mm-hmm. It wasn't till the end when freaking the quarterback, his name escapes me for whatever reason. They had like three guys or whatever to tackle him. He ran around and he made a huge throw. I mean, if Texas sacks him, Texas probably wins that game. Mm. But they have that Nebraska bug. The difference is Texas has that bug in the big games, where they can beat all the little fish. So, I'm going with Alabama. Texas has to prove to me they can win a big game before I pick them.
Okay. All right. Okay, next game is Utah at Baylor. I went ahead and took Utah, even though this is on the road, and I don't know where Baylor is supposed to be this year. But traditionally, they're usually one of the better teams in the Big 12.
Utah, the Utes.
Mm,
Yeah.
Okay.
After
All
seeing
right.
what my Texas State Bobcats did, my GJ Kinney, if you guys remember how I told you I was studying their offense this year. You guys remember that episode like a
Yeah.
month or two ago?
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, Baylor had no. But again, that was the first game, right? Baylor had to go off of what GJ Kinney did at the FCS level, right? So that's just another one of those games where Baylor was guessing what Texas State was going to do going off of a different school. So I guess there is that, but I'm still going to go with the Utes. Their defense, they play Iowa football with better offensive line play. Like they smash mouth, they run the ball, they play great defense.
And they were playing with like their second or third string quarterback against Florida.
I think he's a true freshman, like literally.
Yeah. At some point, they're going to get their guy back, and
Cam Rising. Yeah,
Cam Rising.
Urban Meyer left them in great shape when he left them, and they never really, they've been right there. The, consistency.
Well, they hired good. They got their coach, and they never fired him through the year. Just like Kirk, through the years of losing, they still kept their coach, and then he reversed it back to right. If you're a developmental team program, you're not going to win every year because you're not going to have the horses every single year. You're going to go back a little bit. So, yeah, Utah's basically done the same thing Iowa did.
Okay. And you're picking Utah or Baylor?
Oh, Utah.
Okay. All right.
They don't play defense. I guess we'll find out.
All right. Next game on our slate is Wisconsin at Washington State. Cougars are now going to be probably a Mountain West team, so
I got whiskey in this one. I think they're going to spread the field out and they're going to run their horses. They are installing the air raid, but just at a different pace. And they're smart about it because they're using the talent they have. Their horses are in the backfield, so they're going to spread you out and they're going to run the ball. Right.
A Big Ten team going out west Coast game.
Right.
Yeah, if the game was at Washington, I'd be picking the Huskies.
Oh, definitely.
It's at Wazoo. I will take Wisconsin.
Okay. So we're all in agreement. We all got Wisconsin.
Yeah, we should all.
I listened to a podcast today that featured Chuck Long, and he says that as far as he's concerned, Wisconsin is going to win the West just because there's the way they're set up to do it with the running backs. They got two running backs that are just going to pile yards on everybody. But he said the rest of the West is wide open for second place.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
He hates Ferentz. He's always bet against Iowa with Ferentz. Him and Ferentz do not like each other.
I did not know that.
Yeah. That's why he always talks smack about – I mean, he talked smack about Marco. I about reached through the podcast and slapped him. He did.
No wonder you're not a fan of Chuck Long.
No, it's been before that.
Oh, okay.
Because he always talks smack about Iowa because he doesn't like Kirk. Him and Kirk got into it, I guess, or something. They both think the other's too arrogant, right? They both think they know. So it's just two A personalities, button heads. So
right.
I don't listen to Chuck Long.
Okay.
Yeah,
Next game on our slate is Purdue at Virginia Tech. This one's easy for me. I took Virginia Tech. I'm just not even going to.
Hokey, 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 high.
So you're picking the Techs too?
What's the game?
Purdue at Virginia Tech. By the way, this is the only game that Iowa State won in the Big 12 last year. If that gives you an idea where they're at.
You know what? I'm going to go with Purdue just to go against you guys. This is a game. I think it's a 50-50 game to start with. But, hey, let's have some fun and let's try to pull ahead.
Yeah, but when Virginia Tech gets that Metallica cranking up,
when Blacksburg is rocking.
Right.
There you go. All right. Final game. Illinois at Kansas. Last year, Kansas seemed to be on the rise a little bit. Can they continue to rise?
If their quarterback stays healthy. Remember Jalen Daniels? You remember him, don't you? Who'd you compare him to?
Brad Banks. He looked like he's like a Brad Banks clone.
He is. They're very he's very injury prone. So I'm gonna go with Illinois, the Big Ten school. But it wouldn't surprise me if Jalen Daniels stays healthy. He's gonna put on a show. But I'm going with Illinois.
Illinois
is favored by 3, apparently.
Yeah, Illinois, Big Ten. When they play defense, Kansas, I'm not sold on them defensively.
For sure.
Defense travels, and we all know Lawrence, Kansas it's a real snake pit. Like that is a tough stadium to win at. Okay, they're shooting 3-pointers from midfield there in Lawrence, Kansas. But I will take the Fighting Illini.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all got that. So this would be interesting because every one of us, nobody matched each other game for game. Oh, I take that back. No, we didn't. No, nobody. None of the 3 of us. So the standings could change drastically this week. Well, not real drastically, but maybe even up a little bit.
I was going to say it's already screwed up.
I hitched my wagon to Nebraska.
Purdue just has to find a defense, Jared. Their offense is going to be okay, but they brought in a defensive coach, and they still can't play defense. So they brought in Illinois' defensive coordinator, and they still can't play defense.
By the way, did the Raiders end up keeping the Purdue quarterback?
Yeah,
Connell.
Yeah,
they did.
He had the best. He had the best spring. He had the best preseason out of all quarterbacks.
Yeah, I just can't believe that the Raiders are taking Garoppolo as their. I can't. They couldn't do anything at 49ers. Plus, he's been hurt every single season. He's never, ever, for the 49ers, ever completed an entire season.
It'll be a time for O'Connell to show off just like Purdy did in San Fran.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So, Casey, I hope you're right. I'm not going to lie. I hate Bama, but
it would be nice, yeah.
Texas just can't finish ball games, and I'm putting my life on the line here, so I'm going to put it in Bama.
Yeah. Here's what I want to see. I want to see Georgia go down. I want to see Bama go down. And I want to see Michigan and Ohio State do well. Although I think Ohio State loses 2 games, 1 to Michigan and 1 to Penn State. However, that's for later on when they play each other. But when we make the Big Ten championship, the only game Michigan's going to lose all year is the one when we beat them.
Yes, that's what I want. I was just going to say, you read my mind literally. Word for word, I just shot it right to you. You went right into what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was going to say, somehow something popped in my brain. I go, I've got to say this.
That's what I want. Like that would make the year, wouldn't it?
That would. Oh, right my gosh. I'm going to tell you, I doubt even if they beat Michigan or even Ohio State or Penn State, whoever they would play in the Big Ten title game, I doubt they would make the playoffs. But my question would be is if Kirk wins the West, beats, say, Michigan in the title game, does Kirk retire and say, this is the best I'm going to do with the Big Ten the way it is? Because starting next year, as we know, we don't have any division, and we'll probably finish anywhere from 5th to 9th, I think, from now on.
If he did what you just said, there's no reason why he couldn't do it next year.
Right, that's true.
Cade might come back, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
and you think Cade coming back healthy would be even better than Cade who's got nagging injuries all year.
He'll be healthy in a month. That's fine. He's 22.
Yeah. I think he plays him against Iowa State, but if he's still a little banged up, I'd say rest him against Western Michigan and let's get him healthy for Penn State.
Yeah.
I say let's beat Western Michigan before we start yanking our starters.
Yeah.
We don't have a back unless it's Joey. Deacon I don't know if you saw, but he looked awful. But he also doesn't really know the playbook, right?
Right.
The playbook is so small with Deacon.
Right.
He's
It'll be
only-
Joey. By the time we get to there, Joey will be back.
I hope
Joey
so.
just needed to catch up because he didn't have any
Fall
camp
practice,
train.
fall
Yeah,
camp,
he didn't have any fall practice because he'd been hurt since July.
No, right, and that's true. I mean, he does know the playbook, but yeah, I mean, Deacon. I mean,
He is 1-0 as a starter too.
There you go.
Can't take that away from him. He could leave Iowa right now undefeated.
Right.
Oh.
Right, and I remember the Western Michigan game when we had the big white boy running back. He went to what's his name?
Weissman.
Wiseman. Remember when he took the ball to the house on like a 40-yard run on 4th and 2 or
Mhm.
whatever?
Mhm.
Iowa went up by 5 or 6 points, and then all of a sudden West Michigan went right down the field and
Right.
scored to end the game. So yeah, I think Kate should play against Western Michigan
Yeah.
until the game is
Yeah, you're right. You're right because we're 1-2.
until it's 24-0 or something. Then we can cruise the victory again.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now that I think about it, you're right because obviously we're not doing well against Western Michigan.
Yeah, no,
They
Kirk-
cost us a bowl appearance one year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Mark Wiseman rushed for 200 yards against them or whatever the hell it was, and they still lost.
Yeah.
So,
That was kind of special though. Wiseman for Heisman year, and he was kicking butt so bad until the end of the season when he was just running on an injured leg.
well, yeah, he got hurt against Michigan State in overtime on the
Yeah.
game-winning touchdown.
Right. He was never the same after that. But I'll tell you what, the fans sure loved him.
It's those names. It's like why all the fans loved Deuce.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's the name. You know, the
Mhm.
Wiseman, and then
Yeah.
everybody loved Deuce Hogan because of his name.
2007 would have had Mike Klinkenborg at linebacker.
For real, yeah.
By the way, Mark Heisman accepted my friend request from my homepage. I've also sent him an invite to enjoy the Facebook page, so we'll see if he does.
Nice.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
All right. Let's end on this Aries last comment here because I know Paul has got to get some sleep. That
Yeah, he's
Michigan
over-
State game was epic that season in 2012. Anytime we beat Michigan State, it's epic.
was that the year they came in ranked in like the top 10 and Iowa just demolished them?
Something
No,
like
it was
that.
the game where Iowa beat them in overtime. They were pretty much getting their butts beat. That was the year where the new offensive coordinator came in from Texas and wanted to throw the ball all over the field. Right? He ruined Vandenberg.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He threw for over 3,000 yards the year before, had, like 20 touchdowns or whatever. And then that coach came in and
Greg Davis.
Greg
Yeah.
Davis came in and wanted to run the same offense he ran with Vince Young. Like,
Except
good
he didn't
Lord.
have the talent that Vince Young was, or the supporting cast that Vince Young had.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be smart. I don't understand some coaches. But anyway, yeah, Vandenberg. That was the year they were throwing the ball over the yard. But in that game, Wiseman took over, and they came back. I want to say Wiseman scored like the last 2 touchdowns of that game to win the game. Michigan State had all the momentum. Weren't they up by double digits, Ari, at one time? Like it could have been 10-0 or whatever. But I know Michigan State had all the momentum.
Yeah.
But anyway, all righty.
I'm sure it'll be repeated sometime on the Big Ten channel. We can watch
Oh,
it.
I'm sure you could YouTube it.
Almost all
the
Actually, I'm sure it's been played, and I can probably go back and find it because every YouTube, it seems that YouTube is picked up and is recording every Iowa football, basketball, anything that shows up on a channel that YouTube TV has.
Yeah, that's what YouTube TV does, and it's amazing. I love it.
Mhm.
All you got to do is pick Iowa Hawkeyes, and then everything Iowa, they record.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like Paul says, though, when we have our 2 games on Peacock, how are we going to record that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how Peacock works. I only got it for those.
Apparently,
games.
you can go back and rewatch stuff that Peacock has aired.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you
Okay.
can. Yeah, that's.
I don't know how long it'll be available to restream on
Right.
Peacock.
Like we're on
Yeah.
YouTube TV, it only saves it for a year.
Right.
After a year, stuff starts falling off.
I
So
did not know that. Really? Seriously? I'm
yeah,
gonna lose
go
a lot
back
of games then.
I've already lost every game up till the game before Nebraska.
Gotcha.
Minnesota, I think, might have been
Oh.
the game. Like now, every week I'm losing a game. We're to that point now. So.
If only they had a machine that you could put like a brick like item into, and then like you could record stuff. It'd spit that thing back out at you when it was done, and then you could just like keep it forever.
There you go.
Right, the
Nobody
old
should
days.
invent something like this.
Yes. Bring back the DVDs,
The VCRs, man.
VCRs.
Hey, when I lived in California the first time, and of course that's before the streaming and internets and everything, so I couldn't watch any Iowa games unless they happened to be national, which was very few. And so my mom would record every football and basketball game for me and then send them out. So I get like a couple of football games on a DVD, or not DVD, but
VHS.
VHS, and then some. She'd always wait until she filled the tape, so I get like 3 or 4 basketball games. I'd have to wait and then spend my week or so trying to catch up. But I was nice to my mom did that. She did that for a year. After that, I was on my own.
That's
Right. Figure it out, kid. But
She said it was getting too expensive.
Oh, 10-3. Yeah. I knew it was something where it just looked like Michigan State had all the momentum.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and end this one. We should be back Sunday evening, I hope. We'll be talking about an Iowa victory.
That's right.
Heck yeah. All righty.
All righty, guys.
Bye, Terry.
Take care, guys. Let's get out of here. Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Good
See you
night.
Sunday.
See ya.
Iowa. Go Hawks.